Hello everybody, this is a video going to explain the plugin about post-processing that I created. So I've just created a small map here, imported some pictures just so we can get a good idea of what we're doing with the post-processing. And so I have these post-processing volumes here, and I can go into detail about each of them and what I did to make each of them work and what they look like. So I'll just go into the first one here. So this first one is cross-hatching, and it has some edge detection. It's also using a little bit of Voronoi and cell with Voronoi cells to create the offsets for pencil drawing offsets, and so you can see it's like shuddering a little bit, which is kind of what you want for pencil drawings. So we have the edge detection plus cross-hatching gives a good effect. Okay, so this one is pixelation. I used a little bit of math to calculate the center of each point in a square on the screen and use that value for the pixelation. Oh, and all these are written in HLSL. Okay, so this one is using the Voronoi noise and it's using the UV offset from each Voronoi center to calculate the center of each Voronoi cell to get one pixel color per Voronoi cell, and using a time seed for each frame. So it has this nice sort of effect where it's just kind of moving around a little bit. So it sort of gives like a stained glass feel to it. So here I'm just showing that by using the gradient of the pixel, you can get some general edge detection, as well as some vector directional data from the image. It's pretty stable. Obviously, these images are not these photos don't have any UV or sorry any normal mapping on them at all. So it's pretty cool that you can just get some directional data from the pixels. Here I decided to do a video recording effect. So we got the rainbow discolorations. We've got the vertical lines and the warping of the screen, sort of like a video recording would, as well as some tube TV warping around the edges. This would be good for those horror games where you're playing and it kind of looks like all distorted and everything. So there's that one. This was my first attempt at making a painterly shader where we're using the offset of a texture to offset the physical locations of the pixels. It didn't turn out too well, but I'm sure there's room for improvement to make this one better. It's obviously it's way too distorted to tell what's going on, but you can kind of see how you get the like general idea of how it looks a little bit more of a painterly style, but it's it's like moving way too much. So I kind of stopped on this one. So this is the Gaussian blur. This is using a variable kernel size. It's calculating the average of the pixels around it. So the kernel size allows you to change how much it's blurred. So it's calculating the average of the different kernel sizes per pixel. I think this one's set to maybe around 10. So we're calculating, 10 or 5. Let's see if I can bring it up. Okay, so this one we're using a kernel size of 24, so it's quite large actually. So we're doing almost, if that's the radius, then we're doing almost a radius of, or a radius of 24 pixels, which is a diameter of almost 50 pixels. So 50 pixels on the screen, that's a huge amount of blur. Obviously, this is taking up a lot of processing to do this blur, because that means we're doing almost 50 calculations or 50 instructions per pixel. And obviously, if we have 1920 by 1080, that would be a lot of calculations. So this is just a test to see what's possible. I know you could use this for something like having like a nice camera lens effect, where we're doing like a blur and like a focus area of effect. So you could have like a range of focused lengths. If we do a pass on the depth, if we do a depth pass and then use that to pass it into our Gaussian blur effect, we could create like a nice focus based on depth effect. Okay, so this next one is the kuwahara filter. This one basically allows us to see a painterly effect that also keeps some of the shape data, and we're doing this by making a kernel size, a small kernel size of about 10 or so, and getting 8 averages of the different sectors, and then calculating the variance of each sector, and then finding the smallest variance. So we're getting the average of the sector that has the smallest variance in that direction. So this allows us to keep the directional data, so that it sort of keeps the lines of what's more consistent in the pixel coloration. So so if we go out, we can see there's more detail. If we go in here, it looks a little bit more. It looks a little bit more painterly. It has like a nice little look here. The kuwahara filter is also a little bit more expensive on the processing, but I think it looks nice. Okay, so this is my postering effect, or posterizing effect. I did this one by separating or separating the levels of the brightness into a couple different levels. This one is editable, so you can change the amount of levels. And then by using a chosen color, it will automatically pick complementary colors for the scene to be used. So this is good for like if you want to stylize your game, into something that looks visually appealing in a style that you want. So you could have a game where it's like posterized and maybe the maps look different, sort of like those older games. So if we go to posterization instance, we can pick a color and we'll automatically pick complementary colors. In the code there's room for having triads of colors and complementary colors, and you can change the offsets of those to adjust it as you like. So maybe you just don't have 2 colors, but maybe you have like 5 different colors. Right now it's just set to having the colors go from one complementary color to the other, and you can kind of see how it's visually appealing for the most part, depending on what you like, but it uses math to calculate all those colors. So here you can see that's you've got the blue, we've got the purple, and we've got the reddish pink, almost a little bit yellow here too. But it's all supposed to be these offshoot colors. And they're supposed to be a little bit more appealing than just your raw picture. Okay, and here's the scene again. So those are this is my attempt at doing some advanced post-processing. I hope you like it. Thank you.